Hey everybody, Harold here. I want to start a new tutorial series on Polars in Python. Polars is a great tool for data analysis. If you've used pandas, it's like a step up. So let's get started. The first video in the series will be your intro to Polars and creating your first data frame. A little about Polars. What is Polars? Polars is a fast data frame library. It's Rust-based, which means it's closer to C, C++ machine code, so it's faster than Python. It gives you the ability to make expression-driven data transformations. One of the most powerful things, it does lazy execution with query optimization. We'll get to more on that later. And it's also columnar, parallel, and arrow-backed. And when I say columnar, it reads data column-wise, not row-wise. SQL would read every row in your table. Polars reads column by column and only includes the columns you want, eliminating a lot of data brought in that you don't need. So let's go to Google Colab, and I've already got a notebook. If you've never used Colab before, just go to Google Colab. If you want to create your notebook, file, new notebook and drive, automatically runs Python. And I'll include a link to this in my GitHub repository in the description, but you can follow along if you like in your own notebook. So, Polars tutorial, intro to Polars and your first data frame. If you haven't installed it already, I have. You do bash, which is exclamation point, pip install Polars. Let me blow this up some. Um, then the convention is to import Polars as PL. And I like to, when I'm using Google Colab, import print from rich. It makes the table printout look a little prettier. So the first thing I want to show you is how to create a single series. A Polars DataFrame is the collection of series. If you just want a series, you could say series equals PL, our abbreviation for Polars, dot series, notice the capital S. And this takes tuple. The first part is your column name. So we'll say fruits, your series name. We'll say fruit, and then the second would be a list. Take a list. So apple, banana, cherry. So I spelled series wrong. Sorry. Series equals PL dot series fruits, apple, banana, cherry. In Colab, you can just say print series without the print, and it'll print it like that. Fruit, it's a shape of 3. It's a one-dimensional array. That's a tuple. Of course, if you have one dimension in a tuple, you have to use a comma. I like to use the pretty print though, so I'll say print series. A rich print. I think that looks a little better. The shape of 3, series fruits that are strings, apple, banana, cherry, data type string, apple, banana, cherry. Now, to create a data frame, Polars DataFrame is a series, it's a dictionary. Basically, the keys are your column names and the values are the values. So I could say df equals pl.dataframe. You want to open your parentheses. Then you want to open curly brackets for your dictionary. And you can start making your columns. So name, these all have to be in quotes, colon, uh, Raj, Bev, uh, Ken, and let's give them an age. We'll do a string type. Age, we'll do an int type. And we give that another list. We'll say they're 21, 31, and 42, 43. Fine. Let's do a float. So height, give them heights of, well, let's say 5.2, 5.1, and 6.3. Ken's really tall. And whether or not they have a job, so we'll say is employed, a Boolean column. And we'll say that we'll say false, true, true. So I have a df equals pl.dataframe, name with values, age with values in list, height with values in list, string, integer, float, is employed, is Boolean. If I want to see that df, I'll say print df. So here's our df, nice pretty printed, puts the integers and floats in a different color, tells you the column name, data type, and the values, nicely laid out, shape of 3 or 4. The first big difference you should notice between this and if you're coming from pandas, there is no index. Um, I often found loc and iloc irritating. I like this better. Um, I said right here, this means no loc and no iloc. Polars provides a schema function for a quick glance. So if you say df collect schema, it'll give you the schema, which is name, the string, age, int64, height, float 64, and is employed, which is a Boolean. There's also a glimp function. If I had a larger data frame, it would give you the first few rows. This is going to give you the whole thing, but we'll say df.glimp. So it has 3 rows, 4 columns, the name, which is a string, an example of the values, age, integer 64, example of the values, so on with height is employed. Um, it does have other common pandas functions like head and describe. They'll work too. So I can say df.head. Of course, I don't have 5 rows, so it's just going to give me the whole thing. And I can say df.describe. This is where I like the pretty print on describe especially. So print df.describe. That makes a really nice table with the count, no count, mean, standard, min, max, and your quartiles for your numericals. So it does do describe, this shape, all that kind of stuff that you normally would see in pandas. So that's it for our first video on polars. Next, we'll learn how to select columns. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please like it and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.